Hey wood turners, I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. Welcome to my shop. My project today, it's a wheel. I'm like the caveman, the wheel. This is my hand wheel off the back end of my one-way. And when I got this machine, the hand wheel was there, it was roughed in, and I went ahead and put some grub plate around it a little bit, but it used a stainless steel faceplate. To me, that's a lot to put onto a hand wheel. So I went looking to make my own. And I'm going to make it out of shop scraps and a nut. No jokes here. A nut I got from MSC Direct. And if you don't know how I do it, if you really want to know, all you got to do is watch. This is one of the very few projects that will take more than one day to complete. So this evening, before I wrap things up, I put my jumbo jaws on and I sized them to fit onto this piece. Now, if you don't have jumbo jaws, forget all of this. Get yourself a good large glue block. Put a glue block on there and glue this to the glue block. You've added a little bit more time to the piece, but you can work without all the expensive jaws. Not saying jumbo jaws are expensive, but some guys just can't buy them. Alright, so, and if you have a faceplate, you can actually double stick it to one of your other faceplates with double stick duct tape. They have it at Lowe's. It's pretty good stuff. It's tough. Now, I have it chucked up. I'm going to bring the speed down below 1,000 because somewhere on here it says one-way jaws maximum speed 1,000 RPM. And that means don't go too fast. Now, that's what I want. It's spinning kind of true. I did turn it with my jig on a bandsaw, so it was rather true when it was trued up. It's 3 pieces of oak glued together, cross-grained, and I want it like that. This is going to be a gift to one of my students because he doesn't have a hand wheel. And he's got a one-way, which uses a M33/3.5, which is 33 millimeter 3.5. And this is a nut I received from MSC Direct. Oh, here's the item number if you want to order them. You get 5 in a box, and it's well worthwhile. Once you have them, you're going to find a use for them. It does fit on a headstock very well and on the back end. So what I need now is to do a receiver in here to receive this bolt, or this nut, pardon me. And we're going to do this with the multi-tool. Now if it's on a glue block, it's the same thing. Just make sure you allow the glue block to cure up before you spin the piece. Cure up. If you put it on with CA and you put some accelerator, wait an hour. Let it cure all the way through. Because the worst thing you can have is that block of wood coming off, bouncing off the ways, then your nose. It wouldn't be good. Okay, so let's get out the tools and go to work. Let's go to work. Go to work. To make it a little bit easier, I started with a 2 1/8 inch Forstner bit. It's just a little bit smaller than that nut. And that's about 1 inch thick. The reason I said this is a 2-day project, I want to set this nut with epoxy. And although it's that 15-minute quick cure from PSI, you're not supposed to put it under a load for 24 hours. So tomorrow, while the Daytona 500 is on right there, instead of me, this will be ready to go. It's about where I want it. I just love these new camera mounts I made because I can get you wherever you need to be. I'm just about there. So I'm going to take a little multi-tool and shape that up a little bit more because I want it just to barely get into it. I'll drive it in a little bit, but I don't want to put too many tensions on this. And these corners aren't sharp enough to cut their way in. They're going to spread it apart. So use the little multi-tool and clean it up a little bit. Oh yeah, that's where I want it to be. Now we're going to go ahead and drive it in. Now, even though this nut's got a good shoulder on it, I don't want to be banging on it with a hammer because I don't want to damage that shoulder. It's going to sit, I want it to sit very smoothly on the shaft. So with a block of wood, in my toy hammer, I'm now very smooth and true across there. Next step, I'm going to put some epoxy in there to keep it in place. But I might enlarge these with a little bit of Forstner bit first to give it a little more grab, a few more shoulders. I'll drill that and then I'll come back and put the epoxy in. I'm going to fill it using this. It's the 15-minute mid-cure by PSI. Penn State Industries sells this. It's a 2-part epoxy. I normally mix it up on on 3x5 cards. And you can see I put some blue tape over the hole so that I don't accidentally infill the hole with epoxy. And I'm going to fill all 3 of those divots I just drilled out with my Forstner bit, and then clean up the face of this. After I'm done, this is going to cure 24 hours. Might be overkill, but I never want this thing to come apart. It could be dangerous. So this ensures I've got epoxy around the nut, and I've got epoxy shoulder in here that it'll bind to on a flat. So 24 hours from now, let's get back together again and finish this puppy. "24 hours ago, we poured the epoxy around this nut, put it into the 3 pieces and made it a faceplate. Now it's time to chuck it up. Now, that nut appears to be a little bit crooked now. Yep, it is. I didn't get it just as tight as I wanted. But that's why it's wood, because we're going to fix that. Right now we're going to true it up. We're going to put a hole in the center, about a 3/8 inch hole. Not much more, because, well, let's see what goes through there. I'll draw a bar for our collet chuck goes in there. I'll draw a bar for our drill bit goes through. Our drill chuck goes through there. The bar for our vacuum goes through there. The knockout bar goes through there. They're all 3/8 of an inch, so I don't need a huge hole to come through. The benefit is all those other things that go through stick out in the back, and when it's running, if the hole's too big, it kind of does that. You don't want that. That's vibration. It will come through to your piece. We'll set up harmonics and we'll show up. So we're going to do just a 3/8 inch hole later. Right now it's time to crank it up, true it up, start making it look like a hand wheel or a face plate. And remember, this is like a 2-part project. You can do one for your hand wheel, but you can also glue up a couple of pieces for face plates. And if you make it thick, make it 4 layers thick. If you glue up to it and you have to chisel it off or break it off, whatever, you can just face it up and you're still going again. So let's get to shaping it up. You got to move. With the speed at about 1200 RPMs, I'm going to take some light cuts across the face. knock the high points off. Then I'm going to take some cuts. A few more and that'll be straightened up. My next move would be increase the speed a little bit and go across this face. Because that will help me. I'm a little bit light there, so go back and take a little bit more off. Yeah. Two schools of thought here. If this is a faceplate, I wouldn't want to go much further. I do want to put a knockout hole in the center if it's a faceplate, so if I glue something to it, I need a little help knocking it off, like using a paper joint. I need to knock it off later, so I'd leave a spot in the center. If this is a hand wheel, right now I'm going to want to make the outside look like a handle, so I can grab it, and then on the inside, I'd scoop it a little bit and leave a little proud in the middle. Well, I'm really lousy at explaining that. I'd do better if I just show you. I'm going to crank it back up again. I'll bring the speed down when I stop it because I do not have a Allen set on this. And they thread it on really lightly. I'm going to go in here. Start my finger hole. This is what I was talking about. Something you can grab onto when you spin it, in case you need to rattle loose a chuck or whatever. Want a little finger grab here. Little spot to get onto. I'm going to round this off, make it a little bit softer on my hand, and then clean up the back side. To make it without tearing it out, this has to be all cut. If I were to do a scrape on this, it'll open up those grains. And I want it a lot easier to sand and clean up. So, and I also need to practice coming around corners. Don't overreach your abilities. This got, where am I at? This got in my way, right here. And I need to take a step. If I don't take that step, I'm going to start putting a flat spot in a curve. So I'm going to move my tool rest over, move my feet over, find my rub again, pick it back up, swing the tool the rest of the way, continue across. if I didn't take that step, right up in here would be a straight spot where I'd run out of where I could swing the tool. And I don't want that to happen. I want to be able to nice and smooth all the way around. Same thing with the bowl. Take the step, back off, change your feet, move your tool rest, whatever you have to do, pick up the bevel again and go through. Cleaning up the backside is a little more difficult because I don't have a lot of room back here. But I'm going to shear scrape it. Next on the agenda, I'm marking the center of the piece with my multi-tool to about 3/8 out. That's going to give my twist bit a good spot to get started. Now what I should do is bring my tool rest up just a little bit, fit my bit. When it feels good, the tool rest is in the way I can drop it. Now, if you don't have one of these, you really should make one. Let me get back here and explain what I'm talking about. This is just to turn the handle with a brass ferrule from a plumbing part. And this is a 3/8 inch by 16 inch drill bit from the hardware store. Ace Hardware has these. This is just a little plastic washer I drilled a hole through to make a stop for when I'm going down into bowls. Don't worry about that today. But you should have one like this. This is great for when you're going down the center of a bowl to mark it, when you're doing what I'm doing here now. But it's a simple device to make, and if you look in the catalogs, they cost 20, 30, 40 bucks. This is about $11 at Ace Hardware. Scrap of wood and a $2 part. Now, feel the center, no vibration, which means it's not wiggling around. And we're going to go in and take that center out to be 3/8 inch. Tool rest is getting in my way. Drop it out, go down. Not too aggressive, I don't want it spinning in my hands like that. Now that is a 3/8 inch hole.